are basic things which is going to be happen in the present scenario on the environment. There are various types of human activities that is going on and affecting the environment. That is mainly even that includes both the natural and as well as the anthropogenic. Both will going to contribute equally, but when compared to the natural calamities or a natural contribution, the human or anthropogenic activity is more than the natural activities that is contributing towards the pollution or the stress upon the environment. Among those issues, today I am going to addressing the one of the major issue, that is a global warming and climate change. Everyone, whenever we give the opportunity, the people to talk about the environment, the first and foremost subject they will choose is the climate change and also the global warming, which is going to happening in the present scenario. And we are all evident that. Apart from that, we all know about what is the global warming and how the global warming is affecting the climate and the variations which is going to take place. We are all very much evident. But in spite of all this evidence, we are unable to recognize or accept the things. Yes, the climate change is happening. We are a little bit hesitating. Whenever you ask any climate change is happening, we say no. We are not able to recognize or we are not able to see evidence or we can able to see those things. So that is the main thing we need to consider. Whatever the things are changing, whatever things are happening, we have to focus and we need to think about the what makes the global warming and how the climate is changing, how we can control all those things has to be considered. Let us start with this my presentation on the global warming. So the basic definition, everyone know that it refers to the recent ongoing rise. Rise means the increasing the temperature or increasing the various types of the calamities which is going to be happening on the environment, particularly on the global average temperature. I'm not talking about the particular temperature which is happening in any particular city or any particular state or particular country. It's overall, over a global level, the average temperature. If you consider the average temperature for a period of 50 years, or you can go beyond that also, even 100 years, you can collect the temperature. The statistics, if you see that, it's a clear cut. The increase of the temperature is clearly shown that, yes, there is an increase in the temperature. What makes the increase in the temperature? We should concentrate and also we have to mitigate those things. Let us go with one by one. And even it is we cannot say that it's caused mostly by increasing the concentration of greenhouse gas. It should be, and it's 100% sure that whatever the temperature is increasing, that increasing in the greenhouse gases. So we have many number of greenhouse gases are there in the it will going to be liberated during the anthropogenic activity and natural activities also. But these greenhouse gases are contributing more and more towards the increasing in the temperature. That is the first and foremost the causative factor to increase the average temperature in the global level. This is the basic the definition about the global warming, and everyone you knew about this as a faculty. Like whereas in continuation of that global warming, nowadays we have left that word global warming and we are talking about the climate change. Everyone we ask the global warming, oh, it's an old one and we know about the definition and all those are the things. But nowadays we left that word global warming and talking about the climate change. This climate change, it is refers to any significant change in the measure of climate lasting for an extended period of time. What could be the climate lasting means that's not only it just increasing the average temperature. It also the changes, the various types of climatic, the conditions like a precipitation, that is a rainfall, or a wind pattern, whatever the wind which will going to flow or a blow, in what way, which direction, what is the concentration, what is the velocity, all those, the pattern also changed because of this, the variation in the temperature. Apart from that, even various uh, effect which is going to happening on the environment, even in turn which is affected to our ecosystem, that's going to be a very vulnerable for in future generation. So how much it has increased if you concentrate or if you are focused on those things, the average global air temperature near the Earth's, the surface, which has increased, that's 0.74 to the 0.18 degrees centigrade. It looks like very, very small, 0.18. It seems to be very small, but I'm talking about the global average temperature. Okay. Even if you consider that one, even that can change, that can rise the sea level, that can melt the glaciers which is going to deposit it on the Himalayan regions. That is the main thing. And if it is continued like this, so actually when we have taken the statistics, like at the end of the 2005, even that has increased to the 0.32 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, so according to that's IPCC Intergovernment Panel for Climate Change has this the statistics. Okay, so what changes the climate that will going to be reflected because of the activities that is going shown on evident for that means, one is the sun's output, means whatever the output is coming regularly in the previous years, that has been changed and increasing the that output level. Apart from that, the Earth's orbit is also going to be changed. These are the major the changes which is taking place because of the climate change which is happening due to the global warming. And also the drifting the continent, whatever the continents we have, like various types of glaciers we have, and also various types of the which we called as a tectonic plateau, and all these things going to be changing, and drifting has been taking place. Even volcanic eruptions also, that is going to be contributing towards the increasing of the global greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And also these are the main changes which is going to be pointed out, and that has contributed towards the what changes that has taken place are recorded according to the change in the or increasing the global warming, that which is going to contribute in turn towards the change in the climate. This is the main process. When we explain this greenhouse gas or a global warming, this is the normal procedure. So whenever the light will going to come from the sun on the earth, so part of the light will be reflected by the clouds and atmosphere, and some of the radiations as a shortwave radiations that is going once again the way back to the reflected from the earth when we after the touching to the earth, whereas few of the outgoing long wave radiations that will going to be deposited because of the contribution or the concentration of the greenhouse gases which is going to deposited on this atmospheric region. Can make out that if these the greenhouse gases which is going to be deposited on this atmospheric region, this greenhouse gases will not allow the outgoing long wave radiations to go back to the atmosphere, and it will going to held all the temperature on the same atmospheric level, that will going to contribute towards the increasing of the global level temperature for the increasing as a climate change. So this is the process how it takes place means. So these are the just I am showing this. These are the different types of greenhouse gases. These are the greenhouse gases are deposited or that's going to accumulated on the atmospheric surface, and it is not leaving these whatever the radiations which has come from the sun. it go back to the outgoing long wave radiations, it is going to absorb by the surface and the temperature will remain here itself. This is the main the activity which is going to be taken place during the global warming, the process. And these are the few greenhouse gases which can be noted down as a nitrous oxide, methane, hexafluoride, carbon dioxide, and water. Among these greenhouse gases, there are major two greenhouse gases which is contributing towards the global warming is one is the carbon dioxide, another one is water. You can ask that what's so simply that's even though water H2O that also contains an oxygen, which is also act as a greenhouse gases on the atmospheric when it is going to combination with the various other chemicals, which is liberated due to the anthropogenic activity like industrial or maybe agricultural practices. And these are the major the greenhouse gases. Among these major greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide and water are the among these are major which is going to contributing towards the global warming. And this is the apart from that, there are other type of contribution is also there which can be recorded that's called as a natural process. If you consider this a carbon cycle, so there are various types of activities which will take place on the earth surface, like industrial activity, the human animals, that's animal farming and the vegetation that we have a lot of forest cover. And also we want to go in for the agriculture practices and these volcanic eruptions and also the fossil fuel and ocean and each and every ecosystem will going to liberate the carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. These are the various types of the natural sources which will liberate the carbon into the atmosphere, which will affect or which will increases the temperature on the atmosphere and once again in turn will affect as a contribute towards the global warming or it may be lead to the climate change. That is the process. So here that not only increases the carbon concentration in the atmosphere, that also increases the vaporization, like the water will going to get evaporated and become a cloud, once again come back to the on the earth as a rain, and that is the how this water is also act as a greenhouse gas on the surface. This is the another process. So you just this statistics we have taken from the IPCC. This is the natural process. When how we can accept this whether the global warming is could be the natural and as well as anthropogenic, as I said earlier. So if you consider if it is a natural, you just observe this graph. So natural concentration of the carbon dioxide is only this much. Okay, this contribution of the carbon dioxide, if it is from the natural, this only this much of concentration will be increases. Whereas if you consider the anthropogenic activities, it will going to be a much more. You can see that the even that has increased more than 380 ppm. So carbon dioxide concentration, which is contributed by the natural, it's from the anthropogenic activity. So this temperature record, it is not only just a 10 years or 15 years, this has taken 100 years, which when evident that we can see the how much of the temperatures were there earlier and how the carbon dioxide concentration has increased from 80 to now it is a 380, the parts per million that's going to be increased because of the human activity. That is take 100 years of the data we have collected and it is going to be shown. And here the carbon dioxide concentration from the ice core records, because we can collect this how the temperature has been taken place. There are various types of studies are there. That will I will come to the next slides. Okay, so this record which is taken from ice cores record, and we have analyzed that how much of chemical composition is there in the ice core region and how much carbon dioxide has been deposited in those 100 years. That gives a clear picture that exactly the carbon dioxide or a greenhouse gas is increasing. Because of the greenhouse gas increasing, the global warming is also increasing. That is how it's contributing towards the climate change. Okay, that is the main contribution. This many of the scientists still, and we are thinking, as I said in the earlier first slide itself, we are not accepting it, whether it's a real or is anybody just saying that it's just a assumption. No, if it is real, because if you take, and as I said, it's 100 years, the data if you collect. So the major, we have concentrated on the land and as well as the ocean region. When compared to the ocean region, the land region are more vulnerable and it's affected by this increasing of the global warming or the temperature. So you can see that. So whereas the years, 100 years we have taken, this increasing the temperature is marked in the red columns, which has shown that when compared to the land or ocean, the land is more vulnerable to the increasing the temperature because of the global warming or a global greenhouse gases. Here you can see clear picture which has shown that it's in 1900 to 2008. There is one of the picture which has taken the Green Glacier National Park. We can see this how the glaciers were there in earlier picture, which has the next 100 years, they have taken how much of the glacier has been melted down. Means that ice has melted because of the increasing in that global uh, average temperature. So this is a clear-cut picture and evident that we are very much clear that, so definitely this global warming is taken place, it's on, and we need to control over it. Otherwise, in the future generation or future days, there is this increasing in the sea level that will cause us various types of havoc on the scenario. And we can see the picture of this, how the average, the Arctic Sea, which is mainly known as most of the Arctic Sea has been covered over by this ice core. And periodically, just within a year, we can see that how much of the ice has been melted down, and also the decreasing in the Arctic Sea level, particularly in the ice core region. This is the one of the National Snow and Ice Data Center has collected the statistics, which can evident that it's also shown. What are various types of ecosystem means of the various types of strawberry or types of flowers which is going to be evident, and also the smaller start from the smaller organism to the higher organism. These are moving towards one place to another place, which they cannot able to withstand global temperature, and moving from whatever the habitat is there, and that habitat to other place they are moving or shifting are taking place. Even the pollination, even some of the geese which is going to be living in the very low temperature, the lakes, and also spiders and various types of blossoming of the national park, particularly in the flowering seasons also, that's a moving because of the variations in the climatic conditions. So what could be the impact? If the impact of the rise in the temperature will going to affect the various sectors, particularly when we talk about the forest, that is a major thing which is going to affected by this global warming. And it is also considered as a major a carbon sink, or if we consider as a carbon sequestration, the most of the carbon which will be absorbed is the forest is also one of the major sink when compared to other type of sectors. But first place will going to be a ocean, which is called as a number one, a carbon sequestration. I means whatever the carbon is emitted through the various types of anthropogenic activity, that will be more carbon will be trapped or absorbed is from the ocean. That is called as a carbon sequestration. So here forest is also one of the carbon sink which absorbs more, but whereas because of the deforestation and cutting down the forest because of various anthropogenic activity, And this forest, temperature is going to be rising from 1.8 degree to 4 degrees Celsius. And this is major, the changes if we 4 degree increases, that will take a major, and also the biodiversity, as I said in the earlier slides, all the organism will affected, and that's moving from one place to another place. And another major, the important assumption or important findings that I would like to share with you. So we are all considering only higher vertebrates or higher organisms, which is get affected because of this global warming or a climate change. We are never considering the smaller organism. So microorganisms are the first minor organisms. When though it's a smaller, we cannot see through the naked eye. Only we can observe through the microscope. Those are organisms which will react first when the climate change will take place or global warming will take place. But only thing is we don't have the evidence that, because we are all not observing what are the activities that's taking place in the microbial loop or a microbial organism or their community. If we observe the microbial community under the water or in maybe in the soil, that are the major or main smaller organism which immediately react with the change in the temperature and as well as the climate change. Apart from that, agricultural sector is also contributing a lot of things towards the contribution, even both vice versa. One is agriculture is contributing towards the greenhouse gas. Apart from that, is also affecting because of the global warming. So how it's contributing is, you are all evident that how the Delhi is facing a lot of air pollution, like in the Chandigarh, whatever the straws that is going to be burnt, and various this increasing in the smog, which is contributing in the pollutional load, that particularly PM10 and PM2.5 at the Delhi. That's because of the agricultural sector. Apart from that, coastal line is also major, the impact which is going to affecting because of the climate change. As I said, it is a major core, the ecosystem which is going to be used as the carbon sequestration for the absorption of the carbon which is liberated due to the human activity. Okay, so this is the major one of the statistics which in particularly how the coastal and the inland waters going to be affected because of the rise in the temperature. In the particularly in India, there are various states which have been focused, particularly like state-wise projection and impacts. Few states have been highlighted here, like Gujarat, because this is a very much vulnerable to the both seashore area, that's a floods, and as well as even for the drought situation, and also sometimes earthquake and every vulnerable activities which take place in the Gujarat. And also we have a Maharashtra, that's a drought situation. There is also a increasing the temperature as a 2.2 degrees Celsius from 2024 onwards. We can even Karnataka is also facing a 1.7 to 2.2 degree. We have we could able to see this increasing in the coastal line, particularly in the Mangalore, or the coastal lines which is going to be occupied in Karnataka. And Tamil Nadu also we have Chennai, Kerala also we have some of the coastal lines, Andhra Pradesh, Vizag, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep, West Bengal. Only the coastal line which we have considered. So the major the land use are a 42.3% of the affected area is because of this global warming, or even, and actually 1 meter rise in the sea level. Just imagine 1 meter means very small. 1 meter sea level rise in the rises because of the global warming or a melting of ice, which will go to displace more than 7.1 million people from in India. 7.1 million. It's not a small thing, because we have seen the many flood situation in Karnataka also. So when the flood occur, how many people will displace from one place to another place because of this natural calamity? But this is not called as natural calamity because it's a contribution from the human activity. That is the main, the thing which is increasing the temperature and rises the sea level, and that may displace the human population from one place to another place because of this effect. what makes the major change we could able to see in India particularly is, as we seen in the Rajasthan is known for as a drought situation, and run of Kutch, as I said, the Gujarat region where the sea level rise and drought, and even we can able to, if you go back to the old whatever the data, we can see that many earthquakes is also earthquake prone area is run of Kutch, and Mumbai we have salt water intrusion, which is major sea level rises. So all the salt water intrusion will take place. Then Kerala, that's productivity of the forest, because the Kerala is known for, that's why we have to has given what calls a God's own country. That's various huge vegetation we have the forest cover. That productivity will definitely loses and reduces. Tamil Nadu, we have a coral bleaching. So whatever the coral reefs are there, major coral reefs are the important organism which is contributing in the ocean for absorption of the carbon and the atmosphere. So that is affected because of the uh, global warming. Then the Ganges, if you go for the Ganga, that which is a major river, which is called as a Ma Ganga, that's a sedimentation problem is there. If all the whatever the glaciers are there in the Himalayan regions, if it is melts, it comes rush water, fresh water will rush towards these rivers, and it will take over all sorts of the soil, the fertile soil, or maybe sedimentation will going to have a lot of problem. And the Sundarbans, which is one of the major ecosystem, which is called in the West Bengal, the Sundarban, the mangrove vegetation we have, that is also a sea level rise, which will going to be problematic for then Northwest India, reduction in the rice yield. That's agriculturally, indirectly, which is going to be happen. And also we can face the scarcity of the food or scarcity of the agricultural the product, which is very much needed for the human development or growth. So how we can study this global warming or climate change means there are various types of studies as recorded. This is called as a ring analysis. If you cut down the trees, a stem, because of the variations in the ring or a stem of the any plants, that ring, if you start with the analysis of these annual rings of the stem, you can see that variations are a chemical composition, how much the carbon was earlier in the first year, and how much after 10 years, and how much after 50 years, how much after the 100 years, like that we can ring analysis also we can make. Another one study is this is called as the fossil study. If you go and observe the fossil, the material, how it is deposited of various types of chemical. Apart from that, coral, if you take the chemical composition of coral, and also the ice core, if you dig the ice core region and analyze for the chemical composition, you can clearly show that what was the greenhouse gases or a carbon or any of the methane it may be. So it will be there. It was there in the earlier years, and how much it increased in the next coming 50 years or 100 years of study. These are the various types of the tools which is used to know about the climate pattern, whether really it has taken place, whether it's contributed or not, and how much it has taken. That's the main thing we can see that. So the present day observation, we have a many type of the meteorological equipments which is going to observe the temperature and the wind, and also the rain pattern, and how much of rain has occurred. All these things are meteorological station. Apart from that, and present scenario, we have a artificial intelligence, and also the NASA, and also various types of satellites we have launched. We can able to capture the present data and give that what is the present scenario through the geographical information system or remote sensing techniques. We can able to analyze what could be the present scenario in the particular place, and how we can control what are the activities which is going to affecting the earth, and how we can control or have the control over on that, and what are the activities can be mitigated or we can take it into the consideration. Those all can be considered, and we can study those aspects. Apart from that, there is a many other studies like called as a computer models. We can draw the modeling, and also we can observe collecting the data from the GIS or any the satellites, and we can plot it to the global that's the computer models, the computing the how much of this, the each and every the chemical component or greenhouse gases concentration are there, how much it may increases if it is gradually from 0.1 to 0.5, it increases from over a period of year, and what could be the next year projection. We can project or extrapolate into the next conditions, and we can construct a mathematical model for that, and that will clear cut. It shows that yes, these are the things which is happening, and these are the main steps which we can have the hold on those activities where we can have a control over that and mitigate the increasing of the global greenhouse gases, and as well as and reduce the global warming in the future area or future generation. Then this is another one, that's a temperature increases from the various emission scenario. If you consider that, that's a this is the temperature how it is increasing. There are various types of high emission scenario, middle emission scenario. The commitment to the warming without additional CO2. So because now in the recent convention of Paris Agreement, we have all, even including the developing country like India also, took a pledge and also signed the treaty that will try to reduce the greenhouse gases production, and also the activity which is going to be taken place due to the human activity, and will try to the control over that, will not allow the temperature to rise more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. This is the commitment which we have signed, that I will go to talk about in the next slides coming, where when I talk about this, resilience is there. So this is the major the statistic which is also be taken in the IPCC. Then it is as I said, there's a, because of the the data which is collected through the satellite and as well as the geographical information system, GPS, and also remote sensing, you can plot called as a mathematical modeling, that you can plot the graphs like a climate model run with or without greenhouse gases. Here, what is the observation is, this is the black, the line which shows the observation, and the blue line shows that the natural, like volcanic and solar, the contribution of the carbon dioxide or the greenhouse gases due to natural activity is decreasing in the coming 1980 to 2000. You can see the graphs, whereas the red line, which is going to be a contribution of the greenhouse gases because of the anthropogenic activity or human activity, which may be volcanic, solar, greenhouse gases, sulfates, even the ozone. I just wanted to bring it to your notice that the ozone, which is considered as one of the protective gas, which is situated in the stratospheric layer or stratospheric, the place which is act as an umbrella, which is try to protect from the ultraviolet and radiations which is liberated due to from the sun. Whereas if the same ozone present in the atmospheric, not at the stratospheric, only at the atmospheric, it act as one of the greenhouse gas. That's a major thing. So which one we need to concentrate. If you see this red line, this day by day, yearly, if you consider from 1980 to 2000, it's a projection, it's highly increasing from just you can see that 1.1 to now we reached to the 1.6. That is a 0.9 degrees Celsius. If you consider or convert it in the Fahrenheit, is 1.6 Fahrenheit degree increasing the temperature. Means it clearly shows that it's an evidence is there. So here also you can see the graphs like the surface air temperature. We have reached the about 28 to 30, 32. You can see this a change in the color. Earlier, this photographs taken by the satellite in 1990s. Now it's 2090s. What could be the projection of this? The surface air temperature in the global level means this clearly shows that where we need to focus, how we can control, or how we need to focus on this, the decreasing of the global the greenhouse gases and reduction. Apart from that, this is one of the map for the solar or is a satellite photographs, and also there's an overlap on the map. So various types of activity which has taken place because of global warming on the global level, like a terrain rise buckle, And in Germany, the lowest river levels in the century, which is recorded. And in Switzerland, we can see this melting of glaciers and many avalanches has been taken place. And in the France, more than 14,000 deaths occurred because of the melting of ice and increasing in the temperature. And Portugal, we can see this forest fire. And just I wanted to bring it to your notice. Recently, we also noted that that's in USA, there is a forest fire which has taken place. So that's also a kind of because of these climate variations and also the global warming. That is the main reasons. Okay, so this is the how the due to the variation in the climatic conditions or increase in the greenhouse gases, all the climate will going to be postponed. Like, so we are not getting the rain in the rainy season. We are not getting a cold in the winter season. It has been postponed to the next season, and we are expecting in the odd months, like rain is occurring in the August or September, October, November, December, which is noted that it's maybe a winter season, and the summer season also the postponing. This is because of the climatic variations. This is one of the photos which is taken where high the temperature winter, even summer season has been postponed. Winter season has postponed to the summer season where the high glaciers has been affected. And rising concern, when the sea level rise is concerned. So this photographs is particularly in India, coastal region, which has taken place. Here only coastal area, this Kandla, then Oka, Bhavnagar, which is going to be a major, the oceanic region where we can see that both the scenario B and A is there. So like A scenario, which is going to be a 0.14 degree and 0.20 degree, the temperature which is rising. And if it is rises means that red will shows us if it rises this much, definitely it will going to be affected for the next future generation. That is the photographs of at the main. And here it is concentrated in even Mangalore, which is even Karnataka, like Kochi and Tuticorin and Chennai, Vizag, Paradeep. These are the coastal area which is going to be affected when the global warming takes place or increasing in the sea level rise due to the climate change. This is the projection which is going to be given for the future. Like by 2040, we have a scenario like 0.12, whichever is there, definitely it increases 0.15 degree, and we have to try to reduce those greenhouse gases which not to going to affect. These are which are the organisms that is going to be affected means the turtles, which is main, then the mosquitoes, and this glaciers, how it is going to be melting, and it's going to be increasing, and even our agriculture sector is a major, which is we may face as what scarcity of the food material for the future generation. So in the 2007, after this IPCC has met and they come to the conclusion that though it is a old the statistics, but what they have studied and came with an assumption that it is not a unequivocal, means that whatever the climate change is happening, it is not equal over on the earth. It's varied from one place to another place. It may not be same. The climate variations takes place in Himalayan country or Himalayan region when compared to the Karnataka, it will be different. That is called as warming of the climate system is not equal. It is unequivocal and very high confidence that is the average net of the effect of the human activity since 1750 is started increasing in the temperature, and over the last 30 years has like that the visible influence that many physical and biological system has been affected due to the increasing temperature, which is continued emission of the greenhouse gases, and the current rate what we are increasing, because our every activity starting from the morning from the till the evening, our every activity which is going to contributing the increasing of the carbon level in the atmosphere, because we may use the various types of home appliances, TV, computer, mobiles and lights, what not, all these equipments definitely increasing the carbon level and in contributing towards the global warming. And what will be the consensus? So we have discussed as what conclusion or what next we have to think means whether we have enough about the drivers of the climate to know what causes changes. Means, can we able to mitigate? Can we have any drivers to mitigate or control on the climate, which is going that global warming or greenhouse gases, which will going to affecting the towards the climate change? Or we understanding the Earth the system complexity because we are very much behind when compared to the developed country. So we could not able to understand what will be the complexity in the Earth system, how this what I said in the earlier, the changes in the climatic variations like orbital and also continental drifts, whether system we could able to understand properly or not, that is a major thing. Then can the models accurate simulate the complex climate system? As I said, there's a many types of studies are there apart from the ring analysis to ice core study, whether these model can exactly simulate what's happening exactly on the environment. That is the main, the questions is there, and all these process that will limit the warming naturally. So whatever the mitigating activity that we are planning for next coming year, whether it will going to be affected or whether it's going to be successful for the next coming years to mitigate this warming naturally, that is the main the question. It's still behind that. On other hand, one side we have some doubts whether we can able to achieve the goal or not. In another hand, what's happening? The Arctic Sea is melting faster than what is the predicted. We are predicting that if we 0.1 degree rises in the sea level, that even that will going to be melt due to the ice core region. So that is Arctic Sea is melting faster what we predicted, and fossil fuel emission exceed the most IPCC projections. That's a intergovernmental panel for climate change. What they have projected, whatever the fossil fuel emission, that's a coal burning for the industrial sector, for transportation, and also various activities which is used as fossil fuel, that emission, that the residue of the fossil fuel increasing more and more, that's contributing towards the emission of the global greenhouse gases. And also the assumptions are there like global energy use are too optimistic. Like we have a very conventional energy, we have solar systems, sound, wind energy, and also hydroelectric project, various types of that. Whether these things can cope up with this, can control the climatic variations are increasing in the carbon level, and how quickly can developing country reduce the greenhouse gas emission. Particularly, we have to concentrate because we all belong to the ground, that is a developing country, because the consensus or conventions wherever taken place at the various stages, we will take a excuse for that we are a developing country, we cannot control over that, and we will going to sign the treaty in the next year. Like we every time we cannot take that excuses, and we need to reduce greenhouse gases very quickly, very quickly. Otherwise, definitely there is a lot of problems are there. And calculations what we have included, it's are the unexpected melting of glaciers. We have not calculated apart from the regular analysis that has to need to be considered, and we need to go for that. So if you ask any of the scientists that whether the this happening really or not, so there are two types of the people, a group of people have taken the consideration. There are statistics. In 1991, 60% have not ready to agree that global average temperature is increased. But now 2007 is considered. So almost all agreed that the global average temperature is increasing, and now we need to take an action regarding whenever we plan for it. So this is also a projection, like our humans are responsible for observed warming. So 84% has said yes, that's a main is because of the anthropogenic activity, and we all humans are the main culprit and responsible for the observed warming which is taking place. and 11% is uncertain, and 5% is said that we are not only responsible for that. And this is a per capita, the carbon dioxide emission in the metric tons we are observed. So the major, what we call as USA is a major contributor towards the carbon emission, carbon dioxide, particularly 20.1 metric tons per capita. Per capita means per head, that is going to releasing to the, and when you come to the India, we have about 1.02 metric ton per capita we are contributing towards the global warming. And whatever the humans are largely responsible for recent climate change, and we are all agree for that, because the burning of fossil fuel to produce the various types of energy, and deforestation, and the industrial process means industries, various types of industry. I am not focusing on a particular industry. If you go to any kind of industry that is contributing towards the increasing of or using of the greenhouse gases are liberated into the atmosphere. Just I would give an example. No, even it is not related to this global warming, but also when we consider, say, Ganges, that's a Ganga, where pollution which is taking place, even the government of India is trying to reduce or trying to clean up the Ganga, but we could not able to reach the goal because about 25,000 tanneries are constructed across the bank of the river Ganga, which is daily discharging a 1,000 MLDs of the effluents into the river Ganga. That's a major things which is going to be considered for as a human activity, why we are not able to practicing the good practices to protect the environment. Okay, and also as I said, there's some agriculture practices which I already given example, like a Delhi pollution. As we can move to the one part. These are all what we said about the global warming and the climate change. And nowadays you are all familiar that, so everyone will talk about the from 2018 onwards. I'm focusing as 2018 onwards. If I ask anybody, so the ecosystem resilience, climate change resilience, you're all hearing about those words. So what do you mean by the resilience? So many of the people doesn't know about what is the basic or what is the meaning of resilience, because even it sounds at different types. We cannot able to understand what makes the resilient or what makes the ecosystem for the resilient, whatever is happening because of the human activity. Means, according to the Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, a definition given for the resilience is a system tries overlap with the concept of vulnerability, because we will come across due to natural calamities or even the anthropogenic calamities, anthropogenic activity, various types of the environmental issues or problems will come across. So for those environmental issue, the vulnerability means we will face that thing. And adaptive capacity means, you take an example of Japan. Japan is more vulnerable to the earthquake. Now they are adopted for that, and they are changed their lifestyle and constructing this house in such a way that even that can shift whenever the earthquake will occur, or when that not going to affect the construction or infrastructure which what they have developed. That is what called as a resilient or adaptive capacity, and thereby the risk and the resilience as a strategy means it's a plan, it's a strategy to come or overlap with the risk management and the adoption and the transformation. And it's quite a very difficult definition sounds. Means if you want to simplify this, just it is as simple as you know that resistance. Okay. So whenever we feel about, you should be very resistant for that. Means you are very resistant, you are not accepting that. Means you will not accept and you will try to be adamant. That is called the resistance to the disturbance. Any disturbance occurs. It may be disturbance because of the flood, the disturbance because of the drought, disturbance because of the heavy rain, disturbance because of the cloud burst, or because of the greenhouse gases, whatever may be the disturbance. And whenever the particular ecosystem or fields are attacked by such kind of disturbance, it will going to try to resist for that. Over a period of time, after resistance, it will bounce back or come back to the same original position. That itself is a simplified definition of resilience. Resilience means, if we want to define properly, means it's nothing but a recovery. Means a small word, a recovery is nothing but a resilience, which is called as a in scientific way. So if you take an example, like there is various types of resilience we have. The ecosystem resilience, particularly ecological resilience, because we have a various types of ecosystem: forest ecosystem, the woodland ecosystem, and grassland ecosystem, savanna vegetation, and even ocean, freshwater, saltwater. Many types of ecosystem we have. So all these ecosystem are facing a various types of problem because of the greenhouse gases and the climate change. All these ecosystem can be resilient, and how stable, how we can make this is what requires is, for the resilient, what major things here is time. Time requires, means you cannot become very resistance or recovery. So whenever the accident will occur, you will be hospitalized. So to become original or whatever, to recover for that, you need a time. Likewise, even ecological part or ecosystem also require a time for to become a resilience, or to become a return to the an equilibrium which had occurred because of the disturbances. Okay, it's nothing but a capacity of a system to absorb the disturbance. What may be the ecological resilience means? It is a capacity of a system. System means it's a particular system or a particular area or particular kind of work which is taking place there. If you go and disturb that, just I will give an example, a small example. A freshwater will be there, or nearby lake, you will go, what you will do? You take a stone, you just throw it on the river or a lake. What it will do? It will disturb. And whatever the sediment is come out. And after a few minute, all the sedimentation go back to the down to the earth, and once again that will become a very clear. See, that is what called as a resilient. Okay, it requires a time to come back to the original position, maybe in terms of function, maybe in terms of structure, maybe in terms of identity or a feedback. It needs a resist for the changes. Just this is a diagram which shows very a clear-cut picture about what would be the resilience or a resistance. Okay, in this picture, we can see that this is a ball is there. If you throw the ball to the wall, so a particular period of time, it will not move anywhere. So one particular place will go down and bounce back to the original position. Okay, when you throw the ball to the ground or earth, so after a few minutes or seconds, he'll come back, bounce back to the same original position. So this is called the resistance. Whenever the disturbance will occur, it faces the disturbance and bounce back after over a period of time, over a period of the minute, it will bounce back to the original position. This is the original position, come back to this is called as a resilience, means the ability of a system to bounce back to the previous state after various types of changes. That's going to be a resilience. Here I wanted to give a very small example with the different conditions. So we have familiar with the frogs, tree frog. The most of the frogs, what it will going to do during the summer season, dry season, the water will not be there. If during those time, this frog will going to lay down the eggs, but it requires water, because as it is an amphibian, it requires water also for the tadpoles to be hatched or to take a metamorphosis. So during the dry season, if there is no water, what it will do? It will going to develop a resistance towards the dry season, and whenever the water will occur, during that time, it will going to remain as it is, as the egg itself. And whenever the water, small content of water will comes, particularly pace, immediately it will go to quickly come to the water, and it will going to be the metamorphosis will take place. So this is how this is means. It's very it's a low resistance, because it cannot withstand the summer. it's a low resistance. So you can see that with low resistance, but the more resilient means whenever the water will occurs, immediately it will bounce back, or it immediately the metamorphosis takes place. It will going to be uh, hatched and it will become an adult. This is one of the low resistance and rapid resilience. Whereas if you consider that's another example like red gum trees, it's vice versa. So the same example, it is a very less resistance and more resilient. Okay. I mean, it takes more time to be a resilient or recover. It takes more, and it's a resistance. Even it can lose the condition. Whenever the condition is lost by this red gums will requires the time to exhibit resilience. It's more means it takes more time to be recover for the original condition. So this is the main example for the ecological system. If you focus on, there's a three types of major pillars which is considered for the climatic resilience. One is the mitigation to reduce the climatic change, means we'll try to uh, focus on the different types of the activities to mitigate the whatever the climate is taking place or changes are taking place due to the greenhouse gas or anthropogenic activity, or maybe the volcanic eruptions or any kind of activity, or because of the fossil fuel. So to mitigate the reduce the climate risks, that is like we can go for what example is we can go for the using the renewable energy like a wind energy, solar energy, or instead of fossil fuel. Okay. And another second pillar is what based main it resilience will depends means one is the using alternative energy. Second pillar is adoption, means you have to adopt for that to reduce the exposure and vulnerability to the climate change. As I said, already given the example of Japan for adoption, because they're already tried to adopt for that. This earthquake, this is an earthquake prone area, they adapted for the earthquake. Even whenever occurs, they'll think that it's simply just like as it is the any accident will take place like that, they will continue. Means they are more adapted or vulnerable for the such kind of situation, means adjusting to the effect of climate change. They are adjusted with the environment. If you adjust it with the environment, definitely will have a long time. If you disturb the environment, definitely you don't have any lifetime for to live long, and also you don't have the you cannot give the time for the future generation to live long period. And third pillar is transformation of the society. You have to transform the society, or you have to prepare for them. Just to take an example of the Kodagu region. Recently, what will happen during the flood situation? There's a whole the avalanches which has taken place. Whole the whatever the hill was there, it is moved from because of the flood. And now what they have transformed. If you go and now see now that place has been transformed, and that next time it flood happens, they are vulnerable for that, and they are adopted and they are adjusted for that. This is how we can make ourselves preparedness should be there. Like anything will happen, we are ready to face that, and we're going to get back to the once again to the original position that needs to be create in the ecosystem, not for the human beings. Some of the ways which are going to help the nature to build a resilient or recover the ecosystem for climate changes. One is protecting the ecosystem. We have very many ecosystem, as I said, fresh water, marine water, forest, and other things. If you need to drink a good water at your house, means you have to protect the ecosystem or a forest because it's well connected. As we all know about this food chain or food web, if it is every components are there in the food chain, then only we will get every the natural resources for to live on the earth. If any one component is missing, we will going to face a pathetic situation. That's what we are. Its present scenario is happening, and now it has time has come up. Like even we are buying the water for drinking purpose. That has the situation has come up, and conserving, restoring, and connecting the fish and wildlife habitat. As I said, wildlife is very much important for us because we are all considering those wildlife as a recreation purpose. Whenever we will get the free time or holidays, We'll go and visit any nearby the national parks or sanctuaries or any wildlife, and we'll go exploit everything, and we're going to be pollute every place and throw all the sorts of foods waste and everything, plastic and other things, and we'll come back and we'll pollute everything. That needs to be stopped, and that needs to be over control for that. Then helping the nature withstand a changing condition and preparing the community for the climate impact. And main thing is capturing the carbon in nature, because we already liberated a large and large quantity of the carbon and the atmosphere. We need to capture. How we can capture? The vegetations are there, our forest is there, that will going to capture the carbon. For that purpose, we need to protect the forest. We need to reduce the deforestation activity, and we go for the reforestation or afforestation. We have to go for that. So that's the main contribution we can do. These are the various extreme climatic events which we observed, and Karnataka is one among that. Flood, and also we have drought, cyclone, flood. All these combinations we have occurred in the Indian conditions, and particularly, so climate change will impact on the different sector. As I said, the different sectors we have: agriculture and food supply, air quality, built environment, coast, ecosystem, energy, freshwater resources, forest, health, ocean and marine resources, and transportation. How it will affect means, so every climatic variations which is going to be affected, and here I have given this explanation for that. Slides will be shared later. So here, whatever the words which has given in the blue color, it clearly indicates that. So what kind of alternative we have chosen for that to control over the climate change? Like, we have a very crop rotation and the good deal with the researchers which is going to be there in the agriculture sector, which we taken place, that definitely we can mitigate the uh, uh, next which is going to happening or a problem with the agriculture. Another one is air quality. As I said, so very much worsening the situation because of the increasing in the transportation or vehicular pollution, the various types of soot particles, particulate organic matter, and also the PM10 and PM2.5, that's called the particulate matter 2.5 of the microns, which is affecting our lungs and also respiratory system and worsening the air quality. What we need to go for this? You got to go for the PPE, personal, that's called as a partnership programs, or also that the sharing of the vehicles or sharing of the transportation, and also try to go for the public transport system, and as much as to try to decrease the greenhouse gases, which is going to contributing towards climate change. And the built environment is also one of the important things, because nowadays you can see this many buildings. We want it to be a very passion, and it should our house or our buildings or corporate sector, it should see a very glassy materials which we're going to be using. That is contributing towards a more and more capture of the carbon and the atmosphere. Instead of that, we go for the gardening, rooftop gardening, and even vertical gardening, and also many types of the tree plantation that we can install on the green rooftop, that will going to add the green spaces. And that, apart from the coastal area, is going to be more for the more flood situation. You have to construct the houses in such a way that even the flooding or the storm surge, it will not going to affect it. That is the coastal area that we need to control. And ecosystem, as I said, is a very, very important thing which is need to be protected in the future generation, which is a major part which taken place in the food chain or food web or in my food pyramid also, for consideration of the to preserve the habitat for the future. Then energy and the freshwater resources. Energy, we have various types of renewable and non-renewable energy are there. We need to go for the renewable energy like hydroelectric project or a wind power or a solar power. And in the freshwater ecosystem, we are thinking that we have lot and lots of natural resources. That's why even Mysore people also think that we have a Kaveri, and we need not to control over the usage of the water. We will get a river water from every time, because the many places are also there. We are not getting the regular water for drinking purpose. They are purchasing water for the drinking purpose in the paying a 10 to 100 rupees or 1,000 rupees like that. So like Chennai. So, okay, that we need to concentrate on that, this ecosystem also. Then forest and health. Forest is, as I said, is a main sink for the carbon storage, which is considered as a bank, and that helps to offset the fossil fuel emission that can absorb the more and more carbon on the because of this forest. And particularly few types of species of plants are there which can absorb more. And particularly when we focus on the mangrove is also one of the major the forest area which will trap more carbon or become a bank of the carbon absorption or sequestration is concerned. Then the ocean is marine and transportation is like oceans are also a major carbon sequestration, and it scales up first number one as a carbon sequestration bank for to absorb the carbon which is there in the atmosphere, and also the carbon transportation which is need to be considered, or we need to be focused to reduce the greenhouse gases like oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur, carbon monoxide, which is unburned carbon monoxide from that. And what we can do, that's a big question. So there is a few things, major three levers. Just is given a pictorial identification. If you consider as we are the human beings, there are three levers will be there. What you need to do, one is slow the warming process quickly. What makes the warm more faster, that you need to slow down. Means that is particularly from the super pollutants, which is called as a methane, soot particle, hydrofluorocarbon. That is, we are already liberating about 30%. We are trying to control. Apart from 30%, we need to go for 100% control over the super pollutants. We need to drown. Second one is a carbon neutrality lever. Carbon neutrality means we have to go for the zero emission. Means we try to reduce the carbon emission, reduce to the zero level. Then whatever the already we have liberated the atmosphere carbon, that we need to absorb by various types of sinks or a carbon absorption that need to be done. If you do all these three activity, definitely we can reduce the carbon concentration over the atmosphere. This is the same explanation which I have explained in the words that I will go to share with next this slide. So that is because one important aspect which is need to be focused in the last slides. Like in the recent Paris Agreement, what we have signed is we are trying to, it's very, very clear, and every country has to follow that. We will limit the global warming to the 1.5 degrees Celsius. You can go to any of the institution, they have put a panel like that. What would be the present temperature which is going to be reduced for 1.5 degree. And this is the pledge, which is the agreement which we have signed in the Paris Agreement. And we are achieving by 2050 a net zero. And we have signed for the TT, we will go reach the net zero. What means the net zero means? We'll cut down the carbon emission to a smaller amount of the residual emission. Whatever the residual is already left, we will absorb through the various types of the carbon sequestration. And finally, we will reach the zero concentration of carbon in the atmosphere. That itself is called as a net zero. So how we can go for the net zero means we need to concentrate on the renewable energy sources like wind power and also solar power that can reduce us, even that's what electrical vehicles. These are the few key solutions which need to be concentrated to reduce the climate change. Means one is the using of fossil fuel, we have to reduce. Invest in the clean and green energy efficiency products like a 5-star the appliances are there which will going to have a lesser energy which will be used, like then retrofit and decarbonize the buildings. Whatever the buildings are constructing, try to avoid the glass materials which will absorb more carbon or concentrate more carbon. Then decarbonize the material which is used for the construction like cement, plastic, steel. Then shift it to the electric like EV vehicles. Increase the public transport system usage. Then decarbonize the aviation and shipping, means whatever the carbon which is liberated because of the aviation and shipping, that has to be reduced. Halt for the deforestation and try to go for the afforestation. Then reduce the food loss. Then eat more plants than meat, less meat, because the each and every meat concentration to production of the meat, which will need more and more water, more and more carbon, more and more the activity it needs, that is going to liberate a huge quantity of the carbon emission to the, or a greenhouse gas emission to the atmosphere. That we need to control over that. This is the key solution which need to be considered. And what is the roadmap which has given by the Paris Agreement in the 2020 to 21 is, as per the climatic talk, all the countries have started and even signed the agreement that with sincerely affirm shrinking of window of the opportunity, the plan must include urgent action to cut down the carbon emission by reach the net zero by 2050. And we already crossed the 2025 and reaching towards the 2030, and keep warming and reducing 1.5, and we are not leaving more than 1.5. That is the main the agreement which we have signed, and transition is net zero emission. Definitely we should complete in the 2050. Otherwise, we need to face very pathetic situation in among the country. I mean, need to buy a oxygen mask or oxygen cylinder. We need to buy for to respire yourself in every country. And with this, just I wanted to give a small success story of one country, and anybody can go through this photo, and can you identify which place? So this is a very smallest country which has led a success story for that, which is nothing but Bhutan. Bhutan is considered as a global leader for climate action because absolutely is a carbon negative country. Absolutely carbon negative country, which is the first carbon negative country, because whatever the carbon which is emitted through the various activity, that will be absorbed. 100% absorption will be done because of the forest cover which is already done in the Bhutan. Then earlier it was a 45% of the forest they have covered. Now they have reached to the 70%, much more higher, and doubling the forest cover in their country. That's the main cause or main reason for to reach to the carbon negative country. Then you believe it or not, that they are not using any sorts of the fossil fuel, and 100% they are dependent on the renewable energy, particularly on the hydroelectric project. 100% renewable hydroelectric project or electricity they are using. They are not concentrating on any of the solar, I mean, any of the other fossil fuel which is used for the generation of the power. And organic agriculture, they are dependent, that one. So 100% organic agriculture, they are trying to go or reach by 2035. And the environment science that has been included as per the Supreme Court order after 2004. And that's a compulsory subject and in the middle and high school, because to create or inculcate the environmental protection activity or environmental protection, the mindset in the even a small child. That's the main reason for that. Then they have declared as a national holiday for Social Forestry Day. Then the Global Environmental Facility like GEF and partners, particularly public-private partnership, PPP, they are taken. Apart from that, even success story, there is also a small, it's very vulnerable to the particularly the Bhutan is very vulnerable to the various types of the environmental issues, like the cloud burst and the disrupted water flow and the communities, landslides, avalanches, flash floods, and drying up of water sources. Apart from all sorts of this, the havoc which has taken or affecting on the Bhutan, but it's not stopped towards the uh, environmental pro activity. That's the main reason what we need to consider is everyone and every country need to take an example of this small Bhutan, and we need to reach or to mitigate, to control over the greenhouse gases, which is going to be affecting or contributing towards the global warming and the climate change. With these, and what individually, as an individual, what you need to do is use mass transit, means transportation, bike, walk, roller, skaters, if possible, go for cycle. Then tune up your furnace, whatever the furnaces which you are using, you turn up, means cleaning off regularly. Unplug your appliances when it not be used. when you are not using computer, try to off, or at any appliances, you try to put off. Then go for the buy product of environmental, eco-friendly product, or eco-mark product. Then water saving appliances like installing the low flow showers, heads, push taps. Then chalk, weather strip, insulate, replace the old windows with the new and environmental friendly products. This is only individual action which can take place, definitely will reach, because the impact of the climate change are not evenly distributed. This is my final conclusion statement. It is not evenly distributed. Because you can say that because we are a developing country, we are not contributing towards the greenhouse gas and we can do whatever we want. But even if the foreign country or other countries, if you contribute more towards, we will be affected. The poorest country and the people will suffer earlier. Means the India as a developing country, we are the poorest country. Definitely, we will affect first. And when the damages appear, it will be too late. Reverse the process. Thus, we need to look a long way ahead towards the protection of the environment and try to cut down the carbon emission. With this few statement, I end up my session.